You back then didn't have to think, where are we going to put the radiators then?
No, what?
Because health and safety, mate, you're not going to be able to put them there.
No, but also
I can't run electricity that close to water. Welcome to episode 23, podcast 23 of Bloomin Legends. I'm Johnny Vaughan. That is Gavin the Woodman Woods. Are you right there, Woodman?
I'm pretty good, yes. How are you?
Yeah, really, really good. Do not forget, and I've got this written down here, so I get the details exactly right.
Go on.
If you've got a tale of Bloomin legendariness, you know a Bloomin Legend, you are a Bloomin Legend, or you've done something Bloomin legendary, you can get in touch, email bloominlegends@global.com, or you can comment on the video too on Radio X on YouTube. Keep it mildly abusive, then it sort of chums the water and means more people join in. Turns out if you're nice about things,
yes, you get no sharks.
You get no sharks at all. You get no sharks. You know, you can't.
The blood doesn't smell enough in the water.
Hey, listen, you don't catch shark by sticking chocolate in the water.
No,
do you?
By
opening a bag of sweets.
Jelly babies don't work.
No, jelly babies are not going to work. You need blood in there. So
that's right.
Please, if you could keep it mildly abusive, it really does help us because more people join the conversation, and it's much better clickbait. We'll be doing some of your Bloomin legendary stories at the end of this podcast. First of all, though, Gav, the responses I'm getting have been amazing on the streets.
Oh, yes?
Yes. Do you know what people love about this podcast?
What do they love?
Out? The length.
Do they?
Yeah.
It's a good tranche.
Oh, you put your heart and soul into something. People go out and go, John, love the podcast. Perfect length for my commute. Thinking, is that it?
Is that your only?
Is that it then? Is it?
What it would be too long otherwise.
Yeah, no. Every week, no, any longer than that they get. But you know, the trouble is, then I'd have to finish it elsewhere, and I can never be bothered to finish it. You know, but that's bloody great. All right, John. No, I love that Bloomin Legends thing. And then we get, you should talk to my mate. Oh, you got to talk. I tell you should.
He is an absolute legend.
No, I tell you should do one on.
Yeah.
The amount of people who said, I tell you got to do one on George Best, isn't it?
Yeah, George Best.
Yeah, but it's sort of out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a well-known story.
Do you know the story about him with that Miss World? Yes, I know the story about it.
Yes. Where did it all go wrong?
Where did it all go right? Yeah. So, thank you so much for all the positive feedback. I'm so pleased that most of the bits of your commute, the longest sort of stretch of it is 42 minutes.
It's dovetailing perfectly.
Yeah, you'll sort of walk to a bus stop, and then the bus journey will be 42.
Yeah. Or that train before the tube.
It's for 42 minutes. Right. So I'm really glad it's got that perfect length.
This is cut to the cloth required.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Bloomin Legends. It's 42 minutes. So, Gav, who is this week's Bloomin Legend? Who have you picked out worthy enough for one of our podcasts?
So this week's legend, Johnny, is Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci?
Yes.
Why did you do it in that Italian accent? So people are going, oh, I've always wanted to know how you actually say that.
Exactly. That's exactly why I did it.
Oh, the restaurant.
Well, he's Italian.
There'll be some people, I hope, listening to it going, oh, the pizza place.
Oh, that guy.
Oh,
Da Vinci's.
What, the Italian restaurant? East High Street? Yeah, we go there all the time.
Da Vinci's with an S, apostrophe S.
Yeah. What, the pizza geezer?
Yeah.
Or
Leo.
Yeah, I know. What, Da Vinci's?
No, the Renaissance painter.
Right.
And mastermind. And
high Renaissance.
Yeah,
high Renaissance.
And Renaissance man.
Yes.
That being a man who can do lots of things.
Okay.
A quick bio.
Is that what a Renaissance man
feels?
Yes,
that's what it means.
What, a real Renaissance man?
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Yeah, but at the time... No,
I don't know if it was modelled on him because he was multi-skilled.
Yes,
but I guess it might have been.
It must have been.
Yeah, because Raphael, a contemporary of his, he was just painting.
Was he a contemporary?
Yeah. Michelangelo, Raphael, Titian, and Da Vinci were all.
Botticelli. When he was growing up.
I'm not sure about Botticelli.
No, that's when he was growing up. When he was a young lad.
Right.
But the idea. At the time, of course, they wouldn't have described him as a Renaissance man.
No, because I don't think they called it that.
I don't think they did at the time. They just didn't.
Their branding, it wasn't.
But at the time you go, I tell you what, that Da Vinci's a Renaissance man. What do you mean?
Well, he's a real Renaissance man.
I tell you, he's a Renaissance man.
Do you think it was like at the time? Do you think it was like Britpop?
Well,
where it was like a scene.
No, I don't know, but they wouldn't have said, well, designing all them things, painting. You know,
not a real for me, not a real Renaissance
that night
man.
you see him out on the town, you know,
that's right,
helping out his missus.
Although weirdly, I did notice in this history of his story is that painting was his side hustle.
Oh no,
he was busy doing other things.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around, but no.
It's like Michelangelo really is that painting, it's two-dimensional.
Right. And he was sculpturing.
He was in three dimensions.
Well.
That's the top one. That's your top.
Very different.
That's your chap.
Anyway, Da Vinci.
Do you know why as well? It's more.
It's more what?
It's more labour intensive. More labour intensive. No, but it is.
It's got more trades involved.
No, but if you think about it, Michelangelo.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of his life flat on his back on a scaffold.
Yes,
he must have just felt like this is his trade. He's a
well, he's a house
he's
painter.
A painter.
He's the best
There's
house
such a
painter
difference between
ever.
a painter and a painter.
There is a massive difference.
If
painting and when you add and decorator.
Yeah, no, I think it's one. I think it's the amount of colours. One colour. Yeah, you're a painter.
Any more than one colour.
Yeah, but he's anyway. Go on.
So yes, Leonardo da Vinci was a painter, inventor, scientist, engineer, and all-round genius of the Italian Renaissance. He painted the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. He sketched ideas for flying machines, tanks, robots. He filled thousands of pages.
Not robots.
Yeah, robots. He filled thousands of pages.
Yeah, I just don't believe you.
With wild inventions and anatomical studies.
Yeah.
He was born in 1452. Nice little subheader here. Born a bastard.
Yeah.
Becomes a brain box.
Yeah. His dad.
Yes.
Was a notary.
What is a notary?
Someone that signs things to say, yeah, that's kosher.
Oh, like a legal clerk.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
To say literally all these conditions have been satisfied.
Oh, I see.
So,
right. Yeah.
Say you did a business deal these days and you wanted to make sure that no money from it would go to, say, the Russians.
Right.
You get a notary.
To sign it,
He'd look through it, do all the conditions, everything's been satisfied. He said, "Yes, this is true."
Oh, okay.
So you're held up as a man who's honest,
right,
above the law. So if we think of how hypocritically Catholic Italy was at the time,
it's Medici Italy,
is that he'd have had to, if he had a bastard son, he couldn't have him kicking round the gaff,
right?
Because it's
not kosher, yeah.
But out of honour, he would vaguely look after him.
Right.
So
okay,
I know
enough.
that about Da Vinci.
Well, it sounds to me a notary is an eminently bribable position as
yes,
well.
Yes, fantastic.
To add sort of provenance to any dodgy activity.
Yeah, right. I didn't say honest.
Yeah,
I just said they've got to make sure other people are.
So yes, born in April 15th, 1452 in Vinci, Italy, roughly 20 miles from Florence. Illegitimate son of a notary and a peasant girl.
Yeah.
He had no formal education.
What a laugh.
I know. He had no formal education, but he showed early genius in drawing, music, and nature. In 1469 to 1476, he was an apprentice. I like this.
Do you think, incidentally, when wealthy Italians went out on the village for a drink,
yes,
do you think they were like, should we plenty? I've heard there's some nice looking peasants down there. See if we can't find ourselves a peasant, lads.
Well, because I
a
suppose
peasant girl.
They had to keep their philandering separate from their social circles.
Oh, yeah.
So it was very, very handy to have a population of peasants.
Shivers are not something to go and stay at a big house. Shivers is something lurking below stairs.
Working in the fields.
Working in the fields for a crafty bunk up.
Yeah, I suppose, because in England in those days, it was Henry VIII's time.
Yeah.
And it was always barmaids and servant girls, wasn't it? So it's the same
but
thing.
I think if you're a peasant girl, you'd have to weigh up whether it's better raising an honourable Aristo's bastard than just, marrying a peasant, having like 12 to take care of, and literally for the rest of your life living, she must have thought this is so easy. I slept with this Aristo and
he just left me high and dry.
I've got a gaffer. He's fantastic.
I think I would imagine definitely.
Yes.
As long as he's honest with her, then he's going to look after her.
Yeah, but what about marrying for love?
I know.
I
know.
Yeah.
So
doesn't put bread and butter on the table.
So in the mid 1460s, he moves to Florence and joins the workshop of a master artist called Andrea del Verrocchio.
Yeah.
As a garzone.
Yes.
A studio boy.
Yeah.
How come we don't get a studio boy?
How come we haven't got a studio boy?
Yeah, we need a studio boy.
But there's some real faces in that studio, aren't there?
Well, I would imagine there are. I think
there are famously. That's where Botticelli is. That's where all the lads are.
And all the master painters had loads of people.
Oh, they're just drawing outlines.
Painting for them. He sort of did the outline, and then they all had to get up the scaffolding.
Well, this is where they taught them to do brushstrokes. This is why it's so hard to spot a forgery.
Right.
Because the master would teach them to do exactly
his
his brushstrokes.
I didn't realise it was that detailed.
Yeah, well, no, because
the way he did shading and
that's
light.
his technique that he's been taught by someone, so it's all coming down. Yeah.
Yes, and when you hire him, you're getting that style.
You're getting that style, right? But then obviously you find your own. You find better ways of doing it. When you're doing it in his name,
right.
It's why it's still his art.
Yes,
and why it's so distinguishable.
Well, still do it today.
Yeah,
Damien Hirst has got people working for him in his studios making art.
Yeah, but he's got people like spinning things while he just drips paint on it. You know,
true.
He goes off on holiday while people actually think things up. You know?
Well, you don't think he's going up behind apprentices going, wrong brushstroke?
Yeah, no, I don't think he is. But he does have, people working in there. And actually, Warhol's probably, even though that's sort of the antithesis of the Renaissance
of fine art.
Certainly in the eyes of someone who just goes to a gallery and going, I don't like all this abstracts. I just like paintings that look like someone.
Yeah, scenery.
Scenery. When they don't realise that's actually not really art. That those sort of people just doing normal portraits are more like a photographer.
Definitely.
They were just trying to.
How real did it look?
Yes, that's not. There's no art in there. Art, something
it's
a little
more
bit,
of a skill. Yeah,
it's a skill. That's someone like a draftsman or someone who's just putting something down that looks like it does it, like a photographer.
Definitely.
They're like a living photo me booth, so that when they get to one, they go, "Can I see your pitch, please?" They do pass. No, but they did do small ones. They did passport,
those little
passport
ones
paintings
for jewels.
Here's my passport painting. So back to Warhol. Even though he's the antithesis of sort of fine art in that way, because he's pop art, and you couldn't have something more at the other end of the scale.
So different.
But the idea of him having a studio, people doing his work, people working in his style, it is weirdly incredibly similar.
It is
to what's going on in Italy. There,
it is. It's the tradition.
Yes,
still going.
Actually, you want to see the tradition. It's in someone who perhaps is most iconically doesn't represent it. There's the Warhol paradox.
Well, fascinatingly, he did 7 years of his apprenticeship. Yeah. So I think you're right. It's very artisanal. Yeah. This is how you do it.
Yes. What's amazing is while they're there, you see some of the people he worked with in that studio, and they are, I know, banging about Botticelli, he's working on, but there's just legends he's working with, particularly if you really know your way around the Renaissance, and you start to get to those people who you're thinking, was that a type of pastor or an artist? You go, this is one by the great Linguini, who, of course, and occasionally one of his paintings comes up, and it's like 90 million quid. You're thinking, I've never heard of him. I've never heard of Ungini Faroli.
Yeah, that's right.
This is without doubt on Ungini Faroli. You're thinking, I don't know this guy. I've never fucking heard of him. You go, no, he's amazing.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah,
he said, don't tell me. It's the Virgin with Child on a plinth.
Always.
The Virgin with Child on the rocks.
They all did it. It's a bit like Shakespeare wrote those same plays that everyone else was writing. He just did his version.
Yes, absolutely right. And there wasn't a lot of books going around.
No, that's right. But everyone did a Pieta, which is a Madonna and Child. It was amazing.
Yeah, but, Gav.
Yes.
Like I say, there's not a lot else to do.
No, true. And that was what the clients were asking for, obviously, because there were a lot of church clients.
Yeah, no, I like it when they just sort of fuse things together and they do things like Apollo marvels at the Blessed Virgin. You're thinking, hang on a second, what the hell are you doing?
Roman legend.
Christ slays
Cerberus. Takes on
St.
Jesus.
Peter slaughters Cerberus. It just doesn't matter. Just throw it all in.
It's sort of like, Cerberus bursting through the clouds.
St. Peter
above St. Peter.
St. Peter with amazing, like a body like Arnie. You're like sort of back then. The apostles, they're like Spider-Man. They're like the X-Men, weren't they? They're like Marvel.
They were.
They were really like it's like Jesus calms Galilee. And all the you see all sort of frightened disciples. They're all just really muscular.
They are unbelievably muscular.
As they cower, there's sort of veins standing out. They sort of look like they could kick any storm's ass.
They are. They're like sort of Athena posters.
Yeah, they really are.
The fireman with the baby.
No, they're more. I thought you meant more like those sort of Vikings with those sort of spiteful swords, like like a heavy metal album cover.
Definitely. So he studied painting, sculpture.
In fact, sorry, but that's what he sort of makes the disciples look like.
He does.
Like, sort of like a muscle metal band.
It's interesting because you expect a wealthy Italian to want his commission to flatter him.
Yeah.
So you can see that.
Yeah, no.
But we're talking about Like John the Baptist.
No. Some weaselly little accountant. He's commissioned a picture where, and they sort of say, "Come in. You can be, you know."
Do you think they show him a range of torsos he can choose?
Literally, but they just sort of make his face into that of St James, and his brother is now
with
John.
A perfect jaw.
And he's sort of two accountants on a fishing boat now, sort of.
And his hair goes down into the ocean.
Christ looking at them like you two are marvellous. No, but think about coming home, and you say, "Look, I've got a painting done," and you've got what, 5 brothers and sisters, and it's your family there sitting down with Jesus having a meal. Jesus,
that is what they were.
That's what it's like, right. Jesus looks like your boss because you're trying to be sort of licky around him as well. Jesus looks like King Charles. You know, you look at Jesus and he's sort of now they paint him with like sort of big ears and quite sausagey fingers and quite elderly. You know, no, Jesus was a 72-year-old monarch, all right.
It's amazing. It's like the earliest ever PR.
It is, yes.
It's like this is what my family.
The vanity for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Anyway, he didn't just study painting. He studied sculpture, engineering, anatomy, and plenty of theoretical skills to go alongside his arts training.
Yeah.
So that is.
But where's he getting that from? I get who's teaching him art. Having studied him a bit, I can see where he's getting this. But this other side to him is apparently completely original.
He makes his living designing weapons.
Yes.
At a time. So it's born out of necessity, I would imagine.
Okay.
So
Let's crack on then. I'm excited. I'm excited.
But we now reach his first ever Bloomin Legend moment, Johnny.
Okay.
He was so good at painting as a student that he caused his master, Andrea del Verrocchio, to quit painting forever. So what happened was, in 1472, for 3 years, until 1475, he collaborates with Verrocchio on The Baptism of Christ, painting the young angel holding Jesus' robe. His skill was so superior to his master that Verrocchio put down his brush and never painted again. Wow. That's amazing.
I'd love to do that to a DJ. I'm going to start claiming I did that to Dave the Kid Jensen. Definitely. I'm going to say he heard
Don't
me.
you flatter the kid a little there?
No, I love the kid.
He's great, of course.
But I'd love it if I found out that... Oh, no, I think he's still DJing, actually.
I'm sure he is.
But I'd love it if, say, Simon Bates had heard me and thought, that's it. There's no point. I think if Chris Tarrant is honest with himself, that he knew that me coming along to the Capital Breakfast, he thought there's no.
Did you Verrocchio him?
I've heard bits and bobs that this boy has done. I've never. I'd love it if I caused Eamon Holmes to give up breakfast television. And so we would never have seen him again.
That's true, but I think everyone would have loved that. I don't think it's just you.
No, man, you can't. You say what you like about Eamon. You'll never replicate the sincerity and warmth and that smile.
The wink and the smile. I've got to admit, it's incredibly authentic.
When I say he's a sofa of a man, I'm not referring to his physique. I mean,
it's the feeling.
I'm referring to his comfort.
Sure.
He is a boiling kettle and a full-laid breakfast set. But I wish my work in the morning had caused him to say, there is no point. My work here is done.
Well, it would have been epic.
Yes, I know.
Just the way Leonardo, pretty much retired his own teacher.
Amazing,
that is amazing.
It's amazing, yeah.
It is amazing. So in 1482, he moves to Milan and he becomes a court genius.
Right.
In 1480...
Wow, I thought you said jester.
I know. Is that an official position as well?
You meant the court genius.
What do you do for a living? I'm a genius.
Yeah, but what pressure?
I know.
See, my definition of a genius... What's your definition of a genius?
Just like a really clever guy.
Okay, that's good. That's a really good definition. That's most people's definition
of course
of a genius.
It is, yeah.
That's not my definition of a genius.
Go on, what's a genius?
A genius is someone who points out that under your very nose, a big thing of guan.
Right. Well, people say this about comedians, don't they? They unearth universal things we haven't spoken about yet.
No, they unearth things you have actually noticed.
But you haven't spoken of.
Yeah, no, different from genius.
Yet. Right.
It's why I also object...
Oh, so like the theory of relativity as
or
an
gravity.
Example. That's a really
good...
Right,
these aren't things that anyone thought, I've noticed that, but people might have thought, I have actually noticed that apples fall down.
Right.
But it's a bit more of a rationale there.
Yes.
So under your nose, a massive system is going on and they explain it.
And I can explain it.
So it is something a bit comedic about it.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more mechanical. It's a bit more getting to the system. Genius seeks the truth of things as well. So I think that's an important thing.
And gets to it straight away.
Which is because genius seeks analogy and genius seeks truth. I do not believe, and I never have done, in that phrase, an evil genius.
Right. Because a genius would never be evil.
Because the truth is never evil.
Right. It's amoral. It's
Yes.
as in there's no morality
if you find
involved.
the truth is that's a truth.
It is, yeah.
You know, you can say no, but the truth about what people have done is, or you know, if you unearth it, but if you're finding scientific truths and truth, that's
genius,
right?
Of course.
But if you find any truth about life, there's no such thing as an evil genius. There just isn't.
I think that's a really good...
What is evil is when someone, say, uses the genius of Einstein and thinks, how can I use that? I know, I'll make a bomb that kills 250,000 Japanese. That's the evil of it.
And so we come to his next career move.
Right.
Weapons.
Right.
So in 1480, he writes to Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan.
Right.
And the letter describes the diverse things that he could achieve for the Duke if he gave him a position.
I might just take back everything I've said.
Well, he's offering his skills in the fields of engineering and weapon design.
Yeah.
And he also mentions on the side that he can paint a bit.
Yeah.
So there's various things the Duke could employ him.
I guess as well, they would see that Duke's enemies as evil. And he's now going to make some horrendous weapons of destruction and give this guy the edge in order that he can carry on the good work, but also to stem a tide of evil.
Right. I also like his pragmatic approach. He's written one of the first ever CVs there in a way.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
and he's
curriculum vitae.
Yeah. And he's embellished it, but not like everyone else embellishes it. He can actually do all the things he's showing off that he can do to a point. I mean, some of the things he designed, they weren't going to work.
Yes.
But the idea of them is still hundreds of years ahead of its time.
Right.
But anyway, he moves to Milan to work for him as a military engineer. The Duke of Milan, this is. In his move, he took a silver stringed instrument with him, either a lute or a lyre.
Yes.
And it's in the form of a horse's head. I quite like that. That's an affectation I quite like.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
It's quite cool.
But it's like Prince's guitars, isn't it?
It's literally what I was thinking of. So in the movie Purple Rain, the most unlikely thing I play guitar. No guitarist would ever do this. He arrives at a river. Or a lake.
On a purple motor.
On a big
Yamaha. No, it's a shit
It's
motorbike.
not a Harley.
It's rubbish.
It's a Japanese...
I think it's a Honda.
A Honda.
It's got a horrid big fairing.
It's
like a 125 underneath it.
It's not nice. And he has got a Telecaster strapped to his back like a weapon. It's so lame.
Yeah, but I'm talking about some of Prince's guitars, which was horrible.
Oh, later on, he does. Those big curly things.
Like a sort of harp and
horrible things.
Like guitars with like balls on them. You know,
really weird and horrible things. Although interestingly, he kept going back to that Telecaster.
He did.
Which just shows you Leo Fender got it right
he
first
did, yeah.
time
I thought you were
round.
going to say Leonardo Fender.
No, Leonardo Defender.
No, but is there a sketch? Is there anywhere where Leonardo da Vinci designs? What if there would be a lute with electricity,
with voltage coming through?
Yes. To do that, and then
with
an amplification system. It's one of those funny things, isn't it? When people are talking about things Leonardo da Vinci designed, you go, you can actually see a sketch he's done for like a Harrier jump jet. You're thinking, because it's a bird, isn't it?
An iPhone.
It's like when they say the guy who designed the Spitfire, you're thinking, but it does look quite like a bird.
It really looks like the other things that fly.
Doesn't that? Yeah, don't tell me it's got two wings and a tail. They're sort of about the same place.
And a cockpit area near the sort of
area near the front with kind of eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not diminishing the great work of aviation designers. But hang on a second, you've obviously just looked up. But he got his inspiration one day because put it this way, you very rarely look out the window and see like a biplane bird.
No, you never see a biplane bird.
You get dragonflies, but even there it's just like a couple of them. But you don't get a bird flying around with like the red barrel with like three of them, and it's like a red plane. It's like some Germans thought that's the inspiration. That's why they changed.
It's mad. Yeah, it's mad. So
they changed them from flying machines to planes, right?
So as I said, he designed siege weapons, tanks, canals, flying machines, all while painting on the side.
Yeah, I'm not sure about canal design.
And he begins work on the huge equestrian statue of Sforza that never gets completed.
Yes.
In fact, he melts it all down to create a cannon. To defend the city. That's quite cool. That's a Bloomin' Legend moment. Your art turns into a cannon.
A cannon, yeah.
Also, you can tell he knows which side his bread's buttered on. He's always keeping the one side of his work going nicely.
But also, a giant horse.
I know. It's not that imaginative.
Well, no, but the point about it is It's going to look like a horse, but bigger.
Right.
You know? That's what I'm saying. It's not.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you could easily get a dead horse, make a mould out of it. No, but I'm saying
Pour molten bronze.
Pour molten bronze in here. Hey presto! I'm just saying it hasn't quite got the skill.
No, you're right. You're right.
But yet, what's going to give you more joy over the years, right? If I say, Gav, you've got to come around to mine. I've got this giant statue of a horse,
right,
made of bronze.
Yeah.
Or come round to mine. I've got this fucking great cannon.
It's massive.
It's massive.
It's
you're not gonna believe,
massive.
You're not going to believe the sonic bang of this thing.
And in those days, when they made cannons, because this is quite early in cannon history,
yeah.
They didn't have steel yet, so they had to make them out of bronze. Was the hardest metal they could use. But it was so dangerous to explode a cannonball in there.
No, iron was too brittle, so bronze isn't as brittle.
They had to make them really thick.
Yeah.
The walls of the barrel were really
Oh, no. That's why there's a Chinese cannon seized by the Russians and used in Sebastopol. Is the cannon that all Victoria Crosses are made out of.
Oh, it's that cannon,
it's a Chinese bronze cannon.
And there's still plenty of bronze off it to make as many...
No, I think they've got enough for like 6 left. But it's a small cannon.
Oh, I
see. Those small ones.
Right.
But it's so thick, that they managed to make 2,000 Victoria Crosses out of that, and you need a load of bronze to do it.
Yeah, you do. And also the issue wasn't how big your cannon was. The issue was how do you move it around?
Yeah, right.
Because the really big ones were always just going to stay where you put them, like in a fort or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so his art turns into a cannon. It's another Bloomin Legend moment.
Yeah.
But then in 1495, he paints The Last Supper. So he's in Milan. He starts his iconic fresco on a monastery wall in Milan, and The Last Supper is his largest painting. It takes him 3 years to complete.
Yeah.
And it depicts the moment Jesus tells the apostles that one of them is going to betray him.
Yeah. Now I've seen it, Gav.
Yes, you have.
And it's extraordinary.
Has it been restored?
Not when I saw it.
It's quite bitty, isn't it?
I think it is. I think I don't know. Has it been restored? Yeah, I'm sure. I
don't actually know.
Not when I saw it. I saw it 20, 30 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And now you have to. When I went, Dan Brown or whatever he's called,
right,
hadn't written that book.
Oh,
yet.
Okay. So it was quite easy to go and see
no one
it.
cared. Yeah,
right. It was just an empty room.
So no, it's amazing because obviously I've seen this thing loads of times in books and stuff. And it's beguiling, and you look at it, and you look at all the characters, and even at the time you think there is a woman in this here, and you think, why are they just sitting on one side of the table?
Right.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
Is there some sort of show going on?
Right.
And
dancers.
No, is that where Mary Magdalene, who's depicted in it, does a bit of a turn for them?
Maybe,
as a former, lady of the night.
Sure.
But when you go and see it, the whole thing becomes clear, because when you're at one end, so it's in this dining room.
It's in a dining room in a monastery.
It's in the refectory of a monastery just sort of outside Milan.
Right.
Although it's now sort of part of it.
I've always assumed it was in some grand chapel somewhere.
No. Because the chapel that it's in is as wide as the painting.
Right.
And when you're standing there, the perspective is that is in the same room.
Oh, I see.
So it's like if you're sitting there lunching away,
the perspective in the picture travels back as if the room is that size.
You'd think that Jesus was having the Last Supper at the end, at the top table.
Right.
So that's how it's done. You don't realise it's actually part of, an illusion.
I get
the whole thing.
I get it, because being a dining room, the other tables would have been in the same aspect as the one in the painting.
So you wouldn't have seen. That's why there's nothing underneath it, nothing above. So, but when you're in there, if you arrive there, you'd see a load of monks, and at the end of it, Christ and the disciples are having a Last Supper. Yeah. It is mind blowing. If they have restored it, I hope, I'm a bit sad. Yeah. Because I always prefer the sort of faded colours.
I have no idea if they have. They may not have.
Yeah. Let's not look it up.
No.
But anyway, as I saw it, I've got a feeling they have. As I saw it, Gav, it's there's not many things I'm not very good at remembering gigs I've been to. I'm not very good at remembering the sort of the detail about it.
But it made an impression.
But because generally, with memories, all you're left with are stills. You can't really remember a moving shot.
No, right.
You're left with stills of people.
Yes.
It is a still in my mind that is beautiful and clear always. And it's incredible.
Did it have like glass in front of it or
no,
anything?
No.
So you saw it on the wall.
Just on the wall.
That's
up there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I have to say I've seen every painting of Leonardo da Vinci's.
Yes.
I've seen them around the world, in the various galleries, but I've also seen them all brought together in the Louvre.
Oh, they did an exhibition of all of it.
An exhibition where
Right.
they brought all his
Wow.
most famous ones together. I think there's 25 surviving works of art
Right.
of Leonardo, I think of which 9 are undeniably complete and whatever. I don't know the
I've got
actual
you.
sort of
Yeah,
stats
yeah, yeah.
and sort of portable. But in that exhibition that was at the Louvre a few years ago, they had the most famous Last Supper that they brought there, which was done, I don't know how many 100 years later.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is bright and whatever, and it is, and you seeing it as a painting, it is disappointing.
Right. Okay. So much better as a mural. It's got to be the most famous mural on earth.
No, a real reason to go to
Yes,
Milan.
definitely.
It's like it's. I don't know. Also, in the same exhibition, they had his famous Vitruvian Man, the proportions of man, which is
the famous.
the picture he did of Jim Morrison.
Right.
And Jim Morrison.
The Godspell drawing.
The John, but they do all this great information down the side of that, which is that if you count it, I think there's 11 or 14 different foot positions that are possible because of how he's configured that. But I found that much more mind-blowing to see.
Right.
I really did.
Because it's so authentic.
And the Italians were so sniffy about lending it to. I wanted to go in the 2 weeks it was there.
Yes.
And it was on a wall with loads of his other drawings. And then suddenly you just see this tiny drawing that is so iconic, and the power from this picture. You
Definitely.
Look at it, and it is you're not aware of how iconic it is until you see it in its minutiae, in its tiny reality, the intensity of this thing. And suddenly, I've got a picture of it on my phone. I'll show you afterwards. You're staring at this thing and this is one of the most sacred bits of art on earth. You're looking at it now. It's mind blowing.
I'm not surprised the Italians resented it, because Leonardo ended up in France.
Yes.
And they're probably a bit bitter about it.
No, they are, because they want the Mona Lisa back.
Yeah.
He used to carry, I think, 3 paintings with him at all times.
Mona Lisa he carried with him his whole life.
Yeah, I think the lady with the ermine he carried with him, and another that he never finished. And I think that's such a mark of an artist that
not happy.
Oh no, finishing something that's for wankers.
Yeah, you've always got to keep improving it.
It's never finished.
No,
how can it be finished?
No,
you're always going to see, just.
Yes. You hear that from lots of musicians who write songs. Like, I keep thinking, I could have done that better.
No, absolutely.
Right.
Or a lyric.
Yeah,
that always annoys them.
I wish I hadn't used that. Yeah.
I bet if you speak to Macca, you'll just say,
Definitely,
that lyric.
It makes me cringe.
Oh no, I'm still unhappy about that one. Ringo had suggested something else.
Yeah.
And that was still one,
Definitely.
for me. And John had said he wanted another one. But, and anyway, what's amazing is that the biggest owner of Da Vinci's is the Queen. She has.
Yes, it's unbelievable what's in the collection. The royal family.
She has like 20. I think it was Charles I.
Now the king, obviously,
was the big collector of them.
Amazing.
No, Charles I was the big collector of them. So the Italians are so bitter about, because they've obviously got one Mona Lisa that they think is theirs,
right?
But they've got that Mona Lisa there, and the French won't lend it to anyone.
No,
and I don't think they lent it to the Italians when they had a Leonardo thing. So they really, at the last minute for this exhibition, they let the French have Vitruvian Man,
right?
Which is like their ace.
Yes,
that's a.
How you like them apples?
Boom, yeah. And they let them have that one. I think it was for 20 days.
Right.
And so I made sure when I went to see it.
Yeah.
What
a moment you got to see. That's incredible.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, the beginning of that resentment is 1499 because Milan is invaded by the French.
Yeah.
Leonardo packs his sketches. And goes rogue. He heads to Venice with his assistant, sort of like a super educated Rambo.
Yeah.
And he comes
like a super educated Rambo figure. No one wants that. No, he couldn't have been.
He becomes a military architect and engineer, devising methods to protect the city from navy attacks. He continues to paint. He studies more anatomy by dissecting corpses.
Yeah.
And he starts planning.
I love how they always say how generous the local hospital was with bodies.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely. No, but once you start to see the sort of detail of it, and also, that he has done studies of like pregnant women and things.
Everything. Just the eye alone, and all kinds of.
But this is what I love about him is is when you look at his sketches, when you see them laid out, and the Royal Collection lent loads when I saw them all. I haven't been to the Royal Collection here.
He literally peeled back layers and drew them, didn't he?
No, but what comes out of it is that he's designing and building things. All this is a means to an end. You really get this sense when you look at his work of job, passion.
Yes.
You know, and his job, luckily, he loved designing things, loved doing it. But what I love about it, as someone, I always want to know more, and I've always been really inquisitive. And
he was obviously like that.
Yeah, but also where I want to learn it. Not particularly. I wasn't particularly at school that attentive as you can imagine. And probably quite hard to teach. Unless I was engaged, in which case I just want to learn more and more about it. And I know you're the same.
I'm exactly the same. I'm obsessed with things I'm interested in.
You're interested
and utterly uninterested in things I'm not. You can't get me interested.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you go and see Leonardo, you think, thank God, that's not always sort of the road to ending up doing podcasts talking about. No, I'm not saying that, but you really get the idea of this the focus, but also this restless intelligence.
And he can't stop.
It's just looking for new subjects just to explore and know anything about. Now, what's amazing is back then you could know everything there was to know. I think that they say that in Western culture, a philosopher from Sweden, Emanuel Swedenborg, was the last person who knew everything, because obviously our knowledge suddenly starts going.
It gets crazy.
About
science
the
and
time
everything
after.
expands.
He's a fascinating figure. But at the time, Leonardo, because he knew everything, had to push the boundaries of what was known
to find more things he didn't know.
Almost like an explorer.
Yes.
You know, so
a pioneer.
So at this time, 1492, you got Columbus setting sail for the Americans. It is such an age of exploration, but also Leonardo explores humans and thought and mechanics and this world that's in your workshop, you know.
Yeah. And also, if you're going to
draw, or laboratory,
if you're going to draw the human form, imagine learning it literally from the from the skeleton outwards.
He's expanding the world of actual. It's not even theory; it's academia of actually sort of knowledge.
It is scientific research. Essentially,
it's fantastic.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, science means knowledge.
Sure,
doesn't it?
Does it?
Yes.
That's what it means.
Yes, nescience means no knowledge.
Nescience.
Science is,
right.
Conscience, with thought, with knowledge,
So he's designing weapons. He's working as an engineer and an architect in Venice.
Yes.
And
he also dabbles in a bit of architecture.
He does. I know.
But back then, they didn't have to think, where are we going to put the radiators then?
No, well,
because health and safety, mate, you're not going to be able to put them there.
No, but also...
I can't run electricity that close to water.
But
I can't do it, mate.
Also, architecture in those days, if someone's hiring you to design a building, they're a king.
Yeah.
They're not just someone building a house.
No.
So, and what they want is taller.
Yeah.
And more columns.
Bigger,
More columns.
Yeah.
So as well as the architecture stuff and the engineering and the bigger and better, he's also inventing whole new machines.
So it's almost like
no one's invented.
So as well as expanding science, he's working on what was then science fiction.
Pure theory. None of it was practical.
Yeah.
He invented a helicopter.
Yes.
That wasn't going to happen for 500 years.
Well, we hadn't invented gears.
Or engines.
Yes.
Impossible.
Or steel to make the gears with. Yeah, right.
That's right. In fact, I looked up the machines he invented.
Go on.
He invented practical things like a new, bigger crossbow for weapons and stuff. But he also invented this corkscrew-bladed helicopter, which the first ever helicopter flew in 1939. It was a Vought Sikorsky, first one ever. He invented a sort of hang glider. It looks like a bird.
Yeah, it's a hang glider,
He invented a machine gun, a multi-barreled cannon.
Nice.
He invented a tank. It's this weird-looking... It's like a tall UFO, like a flying saucer, but made of wood with these hatches and then barrels pointing out, so you could go into the centre of a fight.
There's a brilliant little museum in Rome, which is cheap and not big queues, and quite obscure. It's just by a park.
Yes.
And
have they built some of these?
Yes. Yes, they
and
have.
you can see the actual models.
Yeah, and work them. Because they've added the bits he couldn't have.
Oh, right, I see.
So you can actually have these amazing working things, and you can see his hang gliders built now.
Because I've seen the drawings, they look beautiful. They look amazing.
It's a fantastic little visit. It really is.
I bet it is.
It's an engaging afternoon, and also no queues.
No.
Because kids don't want to see that sort of stuff.
No, they don't. So, well, that's another Bloomin Legend moment. He's literally seeing the future. He's inventing a helicopter 500 years too early.
Yeah. I'm also inventing he's inventing a helicopter, machine cannons.
Oh, it's Vietnam War stuff.
Yeah, but we still haven't had a machine cannon.
No, we haven't.
Come
it's
on.
actually, I've seen a picture of it. It's a cannon, but with loads of barrels.
Yeah, all pointing at. I've seen it.
It's amazing
like
looking
a
thing.
sort of like a navy gun.
It
on the front of
does.
the thing.
Yeah. In 1503, he starts painting the Mona Lisa, and as you say, he carries on painting it for a while. He begins it in 1503. He's back in Florence, so he's left Venice.
Who is it?
It's a girl called Lisa del Giocondo.
Because on the back it says La Gioconda.
Yes, that's right.
That's what they call it in Italy.
Yes, that's right. And that was supposedly her name.
Yeah.
It's described as the best known, most visited, most written about, most sung about, and most parodied work of art on Earth.
Yeah.
Which is probably correct.
What's amazing about it, isn't it, is that art, unlike everything else in the living world, it moves on. Art doesn't.
No.
So I see it. It's a creative process leading to a frozen moment of time.
Yes.
Or you get those sort of installations where they loop a moment of time, but essentially it's a time frame, and it's like the more you invest in that moment, the more hours that are invested in this moment by someone who's great at art, the more life it has. What's incredible about it? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it in the flesh. No.
It's the tits. No. What's amazing about it is...
what, the Mona Lisa?
Yes.
Yes, I have seen it.
Right.
In the Louvre.
What's amazing about it is that he's invested all this time, and you wonder how he's done it. And people sort of say, why is that so good? And you do wonder if it didn't have what I call this extraordinary context around it, or as I always call it, contextual momentum.
And what does that mean?
Contextual momentum means the weight on the wrecking ball of it as it comes at you. So the context of it is, list those things again. It is the most parodied,
visited, best known, the most written about, the most sung about, and the most parodied.
Most parodied, right. So if it didn't have that as its context,
yes,
would it hit you so hard?
Right.
So I always look
everything in totality with it.
I've always described that as the contextual momentum of something. That's why some people know what you're about to say next, just because the context is so powerful. You know, it's going that way anyway.
Right.
So, but when you see it, and you realise he's invested, he himself has put this momentum,
kept it with him his whole life.
Yeah,
his whole life.
Just to get across the fleeting smile, which
more,
everything is obsessed with.
He's
obsessed, just obsessed with. Because how do you get someone to pose for something fleeting? Most paintings you see, and most ones of his, like the girl with the ermine, the Christ and Mary on the Rocks, whatever. I can't remember what they're all called. But the musician, the musician dude.
Yeah.
Most of them are still
stills.
A pose, yeah.
Yes.
But this one, it's fleeting.
It's got some motion in it.
It's just fleeting. He's spent years catching something momentary, and it is mind blowing when you see it. But I'm never quite sure if it's because it has so much context around it.
So he keeps the painting with him his whole life, which suggests that he never quite finished it.
I think there's
he was
three,
constantly adding to it.
There are 3 paintings, I think,
underneath.
That he kept with him all his life. That he never finished. That were always with him, and they're still around.
Right.
And one of them wasn't that one they paid $450 million for recently.
That
it's
one.
Almost certainly not his. Yeah.
It's weird, that story. Yeah. Shortly after beginning the actual painting, he was recruited onto a panel to help decide where Michelangelo's statue of David was to be positioned. So that's weird. He's obviously a contemporary of Raphael, Titian, Michelangelo, and Botticelli. To decide where the Michelangelo sculptor should go, that's quite. He's older than Michelangelo.
Yeah,
it's a bit like Ronaldo and Messi.
Because they're not.
Not quite the
it's
same.
It's probably
age.
a bit more like sort of Bobby Charlton and George Best.
Yes, great example. In 1513, he moves to Rome.
He's the Bobby Charlton of art.
He is the
Sorry, Sir Bobby Charlton. It's a really good parallel.
It is really good.
Slightly jealous, but also in awe of it.
And amazing himself. In 1513, he moves to Rome to work for the Pope, but he quickly finds himself outshined by young Michelangelo and Raphael, who are obviously on the way up, and both unbelievable artists as well. He was a bit experimental at this time in his life, which may have been the issue. He tried to win the Pope over by decorating a lizard with silver scales.
Yeah.
And apparently it didn't go over well.
Yeah.
Rather than pushing for artistic respect, he focused on science, geometry and engineering, and he filled notebooks with mirrors, water flows, robot diagrams. He had a weird quirk where he wrote all his notes backwards to maybe stop people copying his ideas.
Well, not really. He's just looking in a mirror.
Do you think that's what it was?
Yes. I sometimes wonder.
I'm wondering if Satan got involved.
No,
at that point.
I sometimes wonder whether he didn't write his notes in mirror writing because he had students and he wanted to show them using an overhead projector that he'd also devised.
Right, the way he showed them had to be in a certain direction.
I just wondered that if there wasn't a mirror above it, so other people could see what he'd written rather than everyone poring over his books.
That's interesting, and that's not that far-fetched
it's
an
not
idea.
You just need a
You'd have had the technology
big lens
at the time.
and a mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Big lens and a mirror. They're both, possible.
And here we come to the big resentment from Italy. In 1516, he moves to France under Francis I. Francis I of France.
Yes.
That's always made me laugh.
Yeah, it's really good,
Inglis of England.
Did France exist then?
King Inglis.
Yeah, King Anglais of Angleterre.
Yeah, right. It's really owning it, isn't it?
King Ingle.
But Francis I took control of Rome at the time and invited Leonardo to become premier painter, engineer and architect to the king. He accepts the offer, moves to France, and it's the last place he lives before his death. He lived in a chateau near the royal palace.
Nice.
Basically treated like a national treasure by the king. His final big project was a giant mechanical lion.
Was it?
A giant
mechanical
lion.
Behold, the giant mechanical lion!
And we're nowhere near the Victorian age yet.
No,
but here we go. But look what its party trick is. It would open its chest. So what would happen is the king.
Does it still exist?
This is such a kingly request.
Does it still exist?
I don't actually know. I've written next to it. What? Lol. He's
nice. Good notes.
He's built him a giant mechanical lion, which was used in a ceremony where the king wanted to wave a wand towards the chest of the lion, upon which the chest would open to reveal a cluster of lilies.
He's mad.
He's insane.
No, but Bloomin Legends.
It's so legendary.
Legendary. What would you most like? I'd like a lion thing.
I thought he was going to say fire or an eagle or something.
It's like, ha ha! You thought it was going to be fire or an eagle. No. That's why. There it is. Still exists.
Wow, it really does.
Oh, it's awful.
It's awful. What the hell?
Is that the real one?
It must be a replica. So he's made the lion with the chest full of lilies for the king.
Yeah.
All his time in France, he's still working.
Gav, how many hours though? How many times have you wished you had that? Do you want to look really good there, just behind the sofa? A lion with
a huge metal lion.
A huge metal lion that looks nothing like a lion. A badly made lion. And you open it up.
And lo,
you get a chest full of lilies. And everyone looks at it and goes, that's quite a shit lion there.
Of course.
It's not as good as his other stuff. Look what Leonardo's made. Something shit.
I'd like to submit it as a Chelsea flower show garden.
Yes,
just a small urban garden with a lion with a chest full of lilies.
A whole pack of them.
Yeah. a pride of
lily lions.
All this time in France, he's still working on the Mona Lisa,
yeah.
which is then left there, and the French hold on to it until today.
Yeah.
He dies in 1519 in France. In the final 3 years of his life, he had a couple of strokes, and this is what they believe led to his death. On the 2nd of May 1519, he was only 67. Probably not bad for a Renaissance years.
No, it's probably not.
That's pretty old. That's pretty old.
Gav, in those days, he goes, "Is Norman not here? What happened? He had that cold yesterday." No, he died of night temperature. Nothing. Yeah.
Mind you, he was 41.
Yeah, mind you, he had a good life, 35. What did he die of? Athlete's foot.
That's right.
One of the toes got infected, that spread, took the leg off, gangrene, dead.
Paper cut.
Nothing we could do, paper cut, wasn't it?
Doing his drawing.
Oh, something got in there.
Yeah, one of them pens.
Mind you, ripe old age, 29.
Yeah. No, he had a good innings.
Yeah, he had a good knock.
He lived a great life.
Yeah, but 67's fine.
It's fine. He left thousands of pages of notebooks.
Yes.
Sketches, wild ideas, and many centuries ahead of their time.
Okay.
What a life.
For changing the world he lived in.
Yes.
For changing the world we live in.
Yes.
And just for changing the world forever.
Full stop. Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Bloomin Legend.